Okay, how do we do this? Okay, so hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here, welcome if you are a new subscriber. I hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope that you're staying at home and making sure that you are socially distancing, as I have done for the past like almost 3 weeks now. Even though I work from home once a week anyway for the past 3 years, I still find that I'm struggling quite a bit with just organizing myself and maintaining a regular kind of pattern of work or regular schedule during the day. Well, I know that a lot of us are spending pretty much a lot of time at home. If you're not a key worker, you're probably doing work at home, and I find that barrier between work and sort of play is a bit more mixed up, and your home life and your work life seems to just be all in one. So you wake up and then you're in the same space that you're expected to do work in, and then you're in the same space that you live with your family or your friends, or where you cook and just you sleep, and it's like everything's kind of merged into one space. I think I'm struggling a little bit with defining those barriers and just identifying sort of how to best navigate the situation that we're in at the moment. And I know a lot of us are working by ourselves. Even if we're working a job, we are at home alone or with one or two other people, and it can get quite lonely. So I thought I'd address a few things that I'm doing personally in order to combat loneliness and in order to feel like there are people around. I listen to podcasts a lot, and I've always been a huge podcast fan, and I have my own podcast as well. We have a shared podcast, but just listening to podcasts, I think, in the background is a really good way to combat feeling isolated or combat feeling alone. So sometimes I listen to podcasts where I want to learn something or obviously be educated, but sometimes I just want to hear a conversation and build on my mindset and build on my experience through learning about other people's experiences. And I just love having that noise in the background, and it really does feel like there is someone there and there are people there that you can kind of listen to and laugh with and just kind of hear into their conversations. The other tool is video calling. We are so privileged to have the ability to video call and use FaceTime or WhatsApp video calling or Zoom or Google Hangouts, what else, Microsoft Teams, so many different ways now that you can call and speak to someone, and it's a nice way to keep connected and actually see another person without just speaking on the phone, which I find speaking on the phone so like tiring, whereas if I'm speaking to you on a video call, I can speak for like 2 hours even with the same conversation. So it just makes you feel like you've met up with someone. And in fact, we've been doing this for a little while now with my siblings, and my husband does it with his siblings as well. And in fact, I feel like we see them a lot more now with this quarantine than we did before. We'd see them every couple of weeks before, and now we see them every 2 or 3 days. So it's quite nice, and it's a nice way to connect and not feel so lonely and so isolated. Another thing that I've started doing a lot more is watching vlogs and on YouTube. So YouTube, obviously, I'm a YouTuber myself, but I usually watch YouTube a lot of the time to understand what's going on and what topics people are loving and what other channels that are similar to mine are doing, a bit like market research essentially. Now I watch it a lot more for leisure and for pleasure. So I'll watch channels that are to do with travel, because we can't travel now, and the first thing I'm going to do after quarantine is book a flight. So I've been really enjoying Mark Ween's channel at the moment. He is in Jamaica. Well, his vlogs are in Jamaica. I think he's at home at the moment, but he is in Jamaica, and I haven't seen a Jamaica vlog before, so that is really exciting. As soon as I saw Jamaica, we were both like, oh my gosh, we want to watch this. It was really good, the first vlog, and I'm sure the next couple ones are going to be sort of in that region of the world as well, so that should be really, really fun. And it kind of just takes your mind away. You travel with the person, and you forget about what's going on in your present. I've also been really enjoying other food channels, other architect channels, so like Architectural Digest, really enjoying that. We also went on Channel 4 and we started watching, was it Homes Under the Hammer or something? I can't remember what, but one of those like old TV shows that we used to watch back in the day. We started watching those again, and it gives you that feeling of we're going to be okay, and in the future we're going to do this, and we're going to go there, and we're going to build this, and here's some inspo for a future house and things like that. And it's just a nice way to get away from your current reality. We've also started indulging in nostalgia, so like things that make us feel nostalgic. So we've started watching a lot of Disney movies. So we watched Mulan the other day. We watched Pocahontas, just to get back to that sort of childhood feeling. And now you finish work at 5 o'clock and you're at home, so you don't have to do that commute back home and get home at 7 and then prepare dinner and get changed. You're just at home, so you've got a lot more time. And you know what, watch a movie on a weekday, who cares? But also they've on iPlayer they've released all the old episodes of Tracy Beaker, and that was like my childhood, so you can watch every single episode of Tracy Beaker from day one on iPlayer. You can also follow channels and pages and bloggers that have live streams, and live streams are really nice because they're in the moment and you can ask questions, you can join in, and you feel like you're present and part of that activity. Just doing a PE with Joe Wicks. There's a few yoga channels that are out there at the moment, Pilates. I followed a yoga class, I followed a PE class as well, Joe Wicks one. It's quite tough even though it's for kids. And art classes. There's just so many classes that are live at the moment, and a lot of bloggers and a lot of creatives are having to change and modify their way of creating content, which obviously has to happen. There's a few study with me's that I've seen, a few work with me's. I did a work with me on my Instagram where I just did 2 hours straight silent work, and people were there and were working with me, and that was really fun. Things like that are really useful because again they make you feel like you're with people, like being in a library or a cafe and studying and having other people around you. It's exactly what it feels like, and I think it's important to not isolate yourself in terms of obviously be at home, but don't isolate yourself socially. And the internet is a great tool to be able to get in touch with other people and kind of stay connected in real time. It is something that I was doing in the start, I'm not doing anymore, is going out for a short walk or a short jog or a short run or your one exercise that the government has allowed you to do. We've stopped doing that completely. Initially we were going jogging, and then we were going for a cycle, and then we went for a walk, and now it's like we're not even going at all. Our area is quite kind of trendy and it's quite young, and so everyone here probably thinks that they are immune from catching anything or from death. So it appears that no one in this area really is taking things seriously, and they've recently closed the parks in our area because people were just not listening. So we now don't have parks to go to, and the park was really huge. And so now it's really, really difficult even to go out and to keep a 2 meter space. It's so hard because that park is closed, and everybody wants to take a walk, and like everybody wants to start an exercise regime. So it's now we're just like, we're not going to go out, and we do home workouts. So my husband does like HIIT workouts every other day or every day, and I've been doing some HIIT workouts, some sort of just like yoga, stretching, things like that, like quick 20-minute workouts. And I find it really, really like it does the same job. It's not ideal. I would much prefer to go out, and I'm very active, and I used to go out so much and go swimming every week and things like that, but I'd much rather just stay at home. But if you are someone who lives in an area where you know that you can maintain that distance, 100% go for a walk, get some fresh air. It's so good for your mental health, it's so good for your physical health, and just seeing humans outside is something that will make you feel a little bit less lonely. Another thing I'd highly recommend is cultivating your community. Now, you may not have a huge following, you may not be a blogger or have a huge platform, but you might have a social media account on Twitter or Instagram where you have a couple people that watch you and that follow you, even if it's just family and friends. Cultivate them. Try to find something that you want to do with them. Maybe do like a questionnaire, maybe do like a live session every so often. Just message them online, and just find out who is around you and who you can kind of contact and work with and just kind of chat to, even if it's not in person. And then lastly, think about your colleagues, and most of us are working from home, so we have colleagues that are online, and a lot I know my colleagues have for sure. They've organized sort of virtual socials, so they've done like pub quizzes online, and they've done sort of activities through Zoom and through other video conferencing after 5 o'clock, after work hours, and usually we're all kind of people that would be like, no, we can't make it. We're very I think Londoners are quite antisocial with work colleagues anyway, but now I feel like everyone said yes. So it's a really good idea if you do have the opportunity to organize a social with your colleagues or your people that you work with, then yeah, definitely feel free. I think it's a great way of connecting and sort of feeling like you've done something, a social activity, even without actually leaving the house. I hope this was helpful with kind of identifying some things that you can do in order to combat loneliness. I know that it can be quite a difficult time for a lot of people, and I know that I've pretty much every single thing I mentioned today is exactly what I've done in the past sort of 2 weeks to help me feel a little bit more connected with other humans. Do let me know what you want to see from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.